Hello, I'm Chad. Of course, my favorite people call me Papa. But I'm sitting here in Salome, Arizona, just kind of soaking up some sun and enjoying myself and trying to take care of my health. I started this channel just because of those reasons. I've been through a lot in my life. I have a lot to teach and a lot to say, but I don't really want to say teach. I mean, I have a lot to share that hopefully through sharing what I have been through and what I've done and how things have been for me, that maybe it will resonate with some people. I've thought about doing this for a long time, but between surgeries, I had back surgery last year, between the surgeries I've been through and some of the pains I have and laying in bed and the TBI, just haven't really gotten around to doing it. Well, now I'm getting around to doing it. And I want everybody to know that that's not bad things. I mean, honestly, yes, I hurt. There's things that go on. I sleep a lot. But, yeah, the biggest problem is don't remember anything. TBI is weird. But I have gotten through all of it. I'm doing things to help myself and make my life better. Thus I'm in Arizona. I'm from Kansas City. Right now they've got 18 inches of snow, and I'm in 60-degree weather. So at least I'm not in -2 weather. Kansas City really kind of sucks in the winter. It's not a fun place to be. But Kansas City's pretty stable, and I've lived in Kansas now nearly all my life since I was 16 years old. So I just wanted to get on here, and this is the first one I want to put on here because I want everybody to kind of see who I am first and understand some of my passions, some of the things I like to do. Woodworking is one of my things that I'm trying to do right now. Been watching videos of cutting boards and how these guys do stuff. And, I'm a YouTube junkie. And my dog is just now stepping down to talk to me about something. But anyway, I love YouTube. I think YouTube is one of the most amazing platforms that ever existed. I've watched YouTube for years. Unfortunately, my biggest passion on watching on YouTube, my biggest thing I do at night, watching videos on pimple popping. But, blackheads, stuff like that. It's weird. I know. It is what it is. But anyway, I've seen people on here and they talk about different things and, they try to be pizzazzy and all these other things. And I'm like, that's not me. I mean, I might have some quirks and be funny here and there and blah, 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 blah. But I feel that with some of the things that I have been through, it will resonate with people. I've talked to psychologists, which is not a bad thing. Mental health is mental health. You need to take care of your mental health. And I've talked to psychologists, and I've had some psychologists that really are very odd. And they've said things like, we're surprised you're not like a major criminal. Now you can dream of what they meant by major criminal. He said something else. But still, with some of the things I've been through with my mother, with my parents, with my dad and stepmom, and different things, the religion I grew up in, which led me to studying biblical history, and I know quite a bit about biblical history and where the Bible came from, how it was written. These are some of my passions that I have, between woodworking and that. I was a veteran of the United States Army. Spent 8 years, about 6 years in the Kansas National Guard, and then went into the reserves for 2 years and exited in an E6 slot, but I was an E5, which is a sergeant, staff sergeant. And I was getting ready to get my E6, but the TBI took over and I just couldn't function anymore. So here I am. Here it's Salome, Arizona. And it's a pretty nice place. It's a very small podunk town. I mean, there's not much here, but still, it's a really nice place. It's nice to be in this kind of weather. Trust me. Oh, and there's my cup. Arizona, the Grand Canyon state. And that's another thing I can talk about is all the places I've been. I've been like everywhere. My mother was like a German gypsy. Okay, she traveled everywhere. We lived everywhere. I've lived in California, Wyoming, and Idaho, and Arizona, and Colorado, and Utah, and Kansas, and Missouri, and we just were all over the place. And then between my father, it was Utah, Colorado, and back to Kansas. So, there's a huge amount of stuff I can talk about when it comes to that stuff. And I know whether people relate, especially people in the X generation. We really dealt with a lot of crap growing up. But if you're, of the other generations, I mean, I'm sure that you could take something from my experience. I was a remodeler. Used to remodel homes. Started my career in painting in 1991. Went from there in 1998. Started painting repaints instead of new homes. I was doing new homes before that, and framed a couple homes up until 1998, and then started doing repaints. So with my knowledge of carpentry at the same time, I could add, we're going to replace a windowsill for somebody, or we can replace exterior wood rot and things like that. And in Kansas, there's tons of wood rot. I mean, you could build an entire business just on wood rot. I started my own company painting painting new homes in 1995, and I was about 22 years old when I started that. And from there, really just kind of never looked back. I mean, my ex-wife wanted me to always have a job, and I hated working for other people. And so I always started a new thing, whether it was painting or remodeling or whatever else it was, I started a new company. Every company I started from $0 and built it, to what it was. Now, granted, my first couple companies were absolutely horrendous. I was horrible at business. 22 years old, had no flipping clue what I was doing, arrogant as all get out. And I'm just glad that at some point, all those things led up to, having one of the largest accounts in the United States, rehabbing houses for them. We were doing anywhere from 20 houses every 60 days, and just check after check after check after check coming in. But the hours I spent to do all that was just astronomical. I mean, when you're working from 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning until midnight, and you're getting about 3 hours of sleep every day, and sleeping at the job so you can finish the job, yeah, you get burned out. You get worn out very, very quickly. One of the biggest things I didn't learn when I was younger was delegation. I started delegating to a superintendent, which really relieved some things. I had 2 superintendents, and it really relieved some pressure off of me, and I could focus on some other things that I needed to get done. Between one office staff and the 2 superintendents I hired, it started to run a little bit more smoothly, but by that time, I was burned out. I didn't want to do hardly anything anymore. So these are my experiences. These are things I've been through, and I can help. I'm not going to teach. I hate the word teach. I mean, I grew up in the when I grew up and went through the 90s and the early 2000s, everybody was an expert on everything, and half these guys weren't even experts on their own butt, let alone experts in the field that they were talking about that they were experts in. They just called themselves expert, wrote a ebook or wrote something and said, well, you can get my book, which sounds good. Yeah, you can get my book. They're just odd people, and just not here or there. So anyway, besides my rambling, here's what I'm going to do. They always say, go to the bottom, like and subscribe and all this other stuff. You can do that if you want. Subscriptions are not important to me. The views and the people that I touch, that's what's important to me. So subscribe or not, that doesn't matter to me. I will do my best Thank you.